Well, good evening and welcome to Senior Info. I am back and I'm hoping I'm back for a while.
I hope so, Harry. It's great to have you here. It's great for me to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get sick.
No.
I brought it on myself. And I'll tell you, right, don't try moving your riding lawnmower by yourself.
Oh, is that how you did it?
Yes, I know I did. I got stuck on a hill in a little gully and I
Oh, no.
lifted the rear of it and I know that's what happened.
Okay.
So, I mean, I brought it on myself. So I can't blame it on anything else. I can't blame it on COVID or anything. And thank God we don't. Do you know of any more cases in town?
No, I think actually the number that came out recently was one less than the previous week because 2 people were counted twice in error.
Oh.
So I believe the number is 308 with a good percentage that have recovered.
Yes. In fact, I think most of the, if not all, but most of the deaths were people that were in a nursing home.
The long-term care facilities, absolutely.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they already got a strike against them because they're at the end of life anyway.
Right,
And your immune system is weak.
exactly. What's interesting, though, is many of those residents have also recovered from the
Yes.
virus.
Yeah,
So it's a tricky illness. The way that the symptoms are coming out, how it's affecting people in different ways, and but yeah, a good percentage of folks did lose their life. Yeah.
I really think if you keep yourself healthy as much as possible, and that is by diet, a lot of rest. Very important. Your body actually, your immune system works while you're sleeping.
Sure.
That's when it's really working overtime. We don't realize that our bodies are really functioning much more than we realize
Mm-hmm.
when you're sleeping.
Sure.
And so a lot of rest is very important, and the right vitamins.
I know you're a big advocate for
Oh,
vitamins.
vitamin D, very important,
Mm-hmm.
because that enhances the immune system. Zinc,
Right.
anything that you give it a little assistance, and you can fight it off. We have natural means of combating things like that.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we're not going to come back. God,
Oh, I don't want to even think about it.
a second wave, they keep talking about that. I mean, I'm concerned we're not going to get to see football.
Right.
They're talking now, maybe not.
Maybe not. I know.
We're not seeing
I was
baseball.
gonna say, what is the latest on baseball? I guess I haven't really been up to date.
The players' union is not agreeing with
They're
a lot
arguing.
of the terms, and it's going. And we're in the June now. I mean,
Right.
you're going to get to a point that there ain't going to be any time.
Yes.
And the only thing that seems to be happening is the basketball. The NBA is talking about playing down at Disney World,
Right. I did hear that.
and even that,
That's interesting.
I know. But how many sports? How interesting is it going to be when you don't have the crowd and
It's
a
not the
mix.
same.
Yeah, no.
No.
But we're not sports talk here, so we'll get.
But one thing about sports talk, what's encouraging when I pulled into the parking lot tonight
Little League.
is the Little League.
Yes.
That
But
was nice to see.
Not that many cars. I
No.
think they're keeping it limited.
Exactly. But it's still nice to see the kids out
Yes. And here again, these kids love playing.
there. Sure they do. Yeah.
I see some of these kids, God, they got more equipment than a major leaguer.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's good that they can get back there and play again.
I agree. Definitely. It was good to see. So.
And this is late. Usually by June, they're wrapping it up.
Right. Yes. And I think the season is going to be short. I think it's going to run until the end of July. But that
Yeah.
gives them a little play time and
Yeah, because they didn't have high school sports.
no.
And in fact, they didn't have much of a school year because
No.
halfway through it, everything shut down.
And that's also will be interesting. They're talking about the plans for the fall with opening school.
Yes.
So, as a
I-
parent of 2 high school
Yeah.
boys, it will be interesting, and I hope that they can get back at least part-time.
What's
We'll
even
see.
worse, though, is the people that have kids in the earlier years.
Sure.
I mean, because you can't leave them alone,
No,
and if you're going back to work,
parents that need to work.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
I mean, and the schools are saying, well, this is not a bad deal. Some of the teachers are beginning to like it. Stay home all day.
They can
Yeah.
balance their work
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
families.
you get on the computer a few times a day, and
Sure, yeah.
not a bad deal. In fact, I'll say, I think the town manager likes it. I think Adam likes it because you don't have to come into work. You can do it right from home.
I have to say, though, he was in the office more than he wasn't. You'd be surprised. He would say to me quite often, he gets more work done at the office than he does at home.
Yeah, because you can't,
Yeah.
I worked out of my house,
Mm-hmm.
and when my kids were small, you can't get anything done.
It's hard.
They interrupt you all the time. You gotta get out and do it.
Yes. Yeah,
But it has been a problem. Look we have Doreen's retiring.
I
As
know.
She hasn't, well, she's been in and out of the office, but she really hasn't been able to work a job on a normal basis now and she'll be gone.
She'll be leaving us. Yeah, I'm very excited for her. She did a fabulous job, though.
Yes.
She just really was
Yeah,
terrific.
no,
And
she did a great job. We've had good town clerks.
we have. I agree.
Big job, a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and there's a lot to oversee and make sure that you're doing things the right way. But she did a fabulous job, so
Yes.
we wish her the best.
But anyway,
So speaking of town meeting,
yeah, town meeting's coming up.
yes, it is. And that will be another interesting,
Yeah, I don't think they've resolved if we're gonna be able to do it yet.
yes, oh, we are.
Oh, yeah, okay, so the state's
I've
gonna
got-
allow it.
Yes, yes.
Are we gonna have to, what do we call it, social
You're
distance?
going to have to socially distance. There will be a protocol that will be coming out right before town meeting. For anyone that will be planning to attend, I'm going to encourage you right now to get there early. They will be having folks sign in an hour before the meeting, register, get your seat, make sure that you're in you're distant from your neighbor. Everyone will be required to wear a face covering. If for a medical reason you are unable to wear the face covering, there'll be a section, I believe, in the bleachers where folks can kind of distance themselves over there. So it's going to be in the gym. I know you were looking at me thinking
Yeah, the
bleachers. What is she
bleachers.
talking about? So it will be in the gym at the middle school
Oh, okay, so.
where
no-
we can really spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tape it, so,
I was gonna say, you'll be there.
yeah, so we'll have to figure out how we're gonna do that.
And as a staff member, all the department heads have been asked to be there that evening to work. So we will all have tags that indicate that we are department heads of our staff of the town of Northbridge, and we will be there to assist people and work the crowd, so to speak.
Yeah, because we got some important items on the agenda, number one being the new fire station.
Yes. And actually, as we speak, they are having the last public forum, right? And I believe it started at 7. And that's
Yes.
a virtual
Yeah,
public
it's
forum.
on Zoom.
Yes. So if anybody was interested in, if you had any more questions or concerns, I'm sure you could still jump in at this point. The information is on the website if you wanted to see if there's any more questions that needed to be answered or if there was more information that you were looking for.
Because that's what, is it next week? Yeah, next week.
So it will be Tuesday, the 23rd is the meeting.
That'll be next week.
And then it is the following
The following week is the
Tuesday
election.
is the election.
Wow. Time's flying by.
My understanding from the town clerk's office is that many people have requested absentee ballots, which is nice to see.
Yes.
And I believe that is still available at this point. I don't know what the deadline is.
Well, they give you more time because of the
because
virus.
of the circumstances.
Yeah.
So if you felt like you couldn't get to the polls on the 30th, contact the town clerk's office and they'll make sure that
I
you,
think you can call them
yes,
and they will mail it to
to
your house.
request it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they'll mail it to your house.
Yes,
And then you can mail it in. But you gotta mail it in to get there before the election.
as I say, at the close of, oh yeah, you would have to have it in
Yeah,
before the
so-
30th.
I would say by a week from tomorrow,
Right,
next Friday, you'd have to get it into the mail because they have to have them on election day.
sure, yeah,
Because then they scan them into the computer
yes,
at the end of the day.
right,
So they have to have them in.
yes,
I have one, but I'm not gonna use it, and the reason is, my wife doesn't wanna do an absentee, so
mhm,
if I gotta bring her to the polls, I might as well,
just do it then,
yeah, I might as well go to the polls myself,
right, yes. Okay.
so.
The other question that is there something for the school, I believe? Maybe there's a,
I'm not sure, I haven't seen the,
okay,
I got the ballot, I could look at it, but I really haven't taken a look at it. Well, I mean, on the town meeting.
oh, for town meeting,
Well, town meeting, of course, the budgets are on there,
right, yes,
and that's the budgets that start January 1st, July 1st.
July
I mean,
1st,
July
which
1st,
is
so
right around the
we're
corner.
down to the wire on
We
that.
are, definitely, yes,
So it's
Yeah.
important, people get out to the town meeting, and the way the weather's going, it's probably gonna be warm, but hey, we'll be all right.
we'll be okay. My understanding is they'll have fans and the doors will be open to get the
Right.
circulation and, so it sounds like, I just saw a draft, it hasn't been finalized, so this is on the QT. But it looks like they have a good plan in place and it will work,
Yeah, well, I mean, I know they put a lot of work into this,
right,
and how can you, the way the system is set up, you have to have a town meeting.
you do,
And we have open town meeting, we don't have representative town meeting, so it's open to anyone in town who's a registered voter.
Mhm.
Well, you make it available.
right,
Same with the election. And like I said, we have some important issues,
you do,
especially the fire station,
right, yes,
which I understand, I don't think it goes on to the tax rolls for first 2 years, so you won't see it until 3 years from now.
Is that what I knew there was a little bit of a delay.
Yeah,
But because we're also with the school and the field,
the field will be paid, because that's only a year.
I was gonna say, that will be not in the mix at all.
No, it won't be there when the fire department hits.
Okay,
The school will, because the school's there for the next 30 years.
right.
And the fire department, whatever, 20 or 30, I forget what the heck they're gone for.
I'm not recalling the numbers.
Like I said, I probably won't be around to see the school paid for. But then
I don't
again,
know, with all those vitamins, Harry, I think you might be.
the high school got paid off early,
Right, that was a nice
yeah,
achievement right there.
yeah, so.
I think I had just moved to town. Or no, yeah, we had just moved to town when the high school was built, and then
Yeah, it was pretty
a few years
amazing when you
later.
think about it. And you think about it, was it 2000 that first class went in? I mean, it's 20 years old now.
it is. It
God.
is. I know.
Time flies
It
by.
certainly does.
God.
It's
Well, now, get back to what we're here for. to
oh, the
talk
senior
about
info.
how you're getting this is one way you're getting the word out to your seniors.
Right.
But
It's helping.
yes,
I think they are tuning in, and
but you're available every day.
now I'm available every day. The only day that we're not answering the phones is Fridays, but that will change come early July.
Oh,
So-
really?
Yeah, yeah. So we're looking at, I guess it's considered phase 3,
Yes.
that we will be opening our doors partially. And what I mean by partial is we won't be hosting group activities. We won't be having our daily congregate lunch.
Okay, it'd be a walk-in thing.
If people
service.
needed appointments. So we offer the outreach worker can offer to help with services. We also have other services such as we have a hairdresser that comes to the
Oh,
center. We have a podiatrist, Dr. Biancamano from town.
my podiatrist,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he holds a clinic every 8 weeks for him. So one-to-one services like that I'm comfortable with, where it can be staggered.
But it's gotta be by appointment.
By appointment.
Yeah, because you don't want, you can't have multiple people in there.
No. We have to make sure that we crowd control, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How about the bus?
The bus, I'm also hoping to get back on the road beginning of July. Again, partial service, more of the necessities, medical appointments,
Now,
shopping.
they have to call and make an appointment.
You have to call, make an appointment, because, again, it will be staggered. We won't have a bus full. We
Right.
can accommodate maybe 2 to 4 people at a time. 4 might be pushing it, and we need to make sure that there is sufficient time in between passengers from pickup to drop off, that we clean in between. So there's a lot that goes into the planning, but we're hoping to at least offer something.
So what you might, if you're applicant for the bus, what you might want to do is call you first to see what times are available, then call and make your appointment.
Right.
And then you also got to hopefully that they got room to get you in at those times.
Absolutely.
Could be a bit of a problem.
It could be, but we're very flexible, and I do have 2 vehicles
Yeah.
with 2 drivers. So essentially, I could have both drivers working simultaneously, kind of helping each other out with getting people to where they need to go. And again, it's for essential services, picking up prescriptions, getting food, medical appointments, physical therapy. I do have one, I have a resident, or 2 residents in town that are disabled that we bring to their employment.
Oh,
We bring them to their work.
yeah.
And so that's another
And
need.
you haven't been able to do that, right?
We have not. Fortunately, for both of these residents, they have good family support. So that has been great for
But,
them.
you know, that can be a strain on the family, and to
Sure.
continue doing it can be a problem.
Right. Yes.
Especially, you know, maybe they've been laid off, but they're going back to work.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's worked out well. They were unemployed, so they could handle it, but now they're gonna go back to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can offer, to
Now,
to
does the
help
bus
out.
leave town at all?
It does not. It
Okay,
stays
so it's appointments within the community.
within the community. However, I may look at offering something that might be not Worcester, but maybe a Milford.
Milford, as I say, Milford Hospital, I'm sure there's people that need
We
to
take a
get
lot
there.
of folks to Milford. So normally, when we brought folks to medical appointments outside of Northbridge, it was through a volunteer driver program.
I was gonna ask you about that next.
And so that I'm really putting on hold for a bit. And I know that my volunteer drivers feel comfortable with that decision as well. That's very close contact, and it would be hard to really, unless you had the person in the back seat with maybe even a piece of plexiglass and everyone had masks on. But the majority of my drivers are older themselves,
Right.
and I don't want to put anybody at risk.
How about testing? Is it possible to get some testing down at the senior center that so you could pre-qualify people? Before I went in the hospital, I had to go get a COVID test.
Oh, right.
And I was wondering if, you could arrange something like that.
I don't know about
Then you
that.
could have, your volunteer drivers could be tested,
Right.
and anybody who needs to get picked up like that could be tested. you have to do it, I think you have to do it 2 or 3 days ahead of time because it takes time to process. Well, I think they're coming out with some tests now, I guess, that are, tell you right
Let's say
away.
they're improving
Yeah.
things and really advancing with how the
Yeah,
testing
if you-
is. And
maybe you ought to look into,
that is something definitely to consider. I don't know if everybody would be open to testing, but you never know. You never know.
well,
I
you
mean,
know,
where there's a need,
if you
there's,
want to have that service,
right.
well, you're gonna have to do that.
yeah.
If I wanted to go to, I could have said no on the test, they would have said, okay, you can't come to the hospital.
No, right, no, yeah. I definitely understand that, for
Yeah,
sure.
so, and I had no problem with it.
Yeah.
Test was in there, I had the one where they
I was gonna say,
put
was
the
it the
swab in
nasal?
your nose and she goes up and, ooh.
Yeah.
And I have allergies already, so it wasn't pleasant, but,
No.
hey, I know I'm not COVID,
I was gonna say, but now you know.
yeah.
Yeah, which is good.
So, I don't think that many people, when you look at the size of the population, we got a 15,000 person population in town, and we had, what,
308.
308? That's not very many.
No.
That's
No.
pretty darn good.
And again, the majority were contained in
Yes,
long-term care facilities.
yes.
So that's another factor of our numbers, which,
Which was a part of the problem too, is that, you know, they're in a facility where they can't get out, and, yeah, it's gonna be a chance it's gonna spread.
of course, they're in close proximity to each other. They share rooms, they share bathroom facilities.
Yeah.
They share pretty
Yeah,
much everything. They're under
Yeah.
one roof.
utensils, everything.
Yes, yeah.
Thank God for the people that take care of them.
Oh, amazing. My hat goes off to all of them. I had worked in long-term care facility for several years, and I just, every day I would think about that work and what they were
Oh.
faced with every day, and not knowing if you're exposed or not.
I know. I know, you don't know.
You don't know, and then you go home to your family, and you're
Yeah.
thinking, "Wow, this is a huge
That's where
risk."
testing should be an important factor.
Absolutely, and I hope that there's going to be looking at the long-term care facilities a little bit closer than they had been.
Yes.
I'm really hoping that that's on the agenda.
Now, in that light, could you start doing things like taking temperatures? So
I
that you
sup-
could bring more people in?
I suppose I could. I mean, that's something I could certainly consult with the Board
I
of Health.
understand that it's not the wherewithal, because in some cases, they don't have a temp and still could be infected.
True. Asymptomatic and
Yeah,
not showing any signs, no fever.
yeah, no cough, no fever, no
No.
sneezing, no
Right,
loss of smell,
right.
anything like that, so,
Mhm.
I mean, but at least it gives you an idea.
Right. Exactly.
I know Jeannie down at the chamber, she got a thermometer, you know, the one that you can
Of the
stand,
digital.
yeah, digital, that you can
Mhm.
stand about 2 feet away and read them.
Right.
And everybody goes into the chamber has to get scanned.
Yes. My son had a tooth extracted yesterday, and for us to, before we entered the building, they came out to the parking lot, did the
That's right.
questionnaires, and then took both our temperatures the same way with the little,
Yeah.
like, gun right to our forehead, and then we could enter the building.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another thing. If you needed a dentist
Mm.
prior to what, about a month now, I think?
Right.
What did you do?
What did you do? I wondered what they did during emergencies.
Yeah, if you had a toothache,
Right.
God, I mean, that's hell to go through.
I would hope that, I don't know. I don't know if there was some, leeway. I don't know if, I'm not sure what happened.
I don't know, I've been,
I haven't heard of anybody that needed emergency
no, I
dental
haven't
care,
either,
so,
but there had to be someone somewhere.
I was
Imagine
gonna-
you had to go to the emergency room.
oh, maybe. Or some place where they were set up to handle,
They stick you on the painkillers.
right, oh, yeah. And that's a
But
whole
yeah,
other
it's been a
thing.
problem.
Yes.
But, you know, it's really been I know you have one of the most active senior centers anywhere around.
Thank you.
I go by there and there are cars like you read
It's
about.
busy. Yeah.
Not now.
Not now, which is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think it's got to be tough for those people that were
it
frequently
is.
going there all the time and enjoying themselves and all the activities you had going.
Yes. And as I had mentioned before we went on, the calls that I'm getting, people want to know when can we come back?
Is there any idea? The state is not giving you even a glimpse of when.
So, the Mass Council on Aging has a task force that is working on policies that help senior centers, give us guidance, not telling us what to do, but certainly providing us with some pointers, examples of policies, what would be a best practice for us. And I've been reviewing those and trying to tailor to what would work for the Northbridge Senior Center. I'm really thinking and leaning toward any type of group activity that is hosted and happens in our building. I'm leaning towards September. I have September in my mind, that's when we will be able to have small groups
Yep.
gather again safely and participate in the activities that they once enjoyed.
How many are you talking in a small group? Half a dozen, or?
I would say no more than that,
And then you would also be 6 feet apart.
definitely. Yeah. And we're fortunate in Northbridge, our senior center is big enough that I can do that.
Yeah, you've got some room.
I do. And I just think about my colleagues in neighboring towns that have one small room.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to try to plan safely how to do that. So I do feel lucky in the respect that we do have some good space.
Well, you know, if you remember back was it H1N2 virus, there was very much concern about it,
Sure.
and then all of a sudden, boom,
It was gone.
it was gone. I'm wondering if this could happen again.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
I know, I mean, come September and, oh, we have no traces of it.
That would be a blessing, really.
I mean, anything is possible.
It is. And that's something I guess we could all hang on to for hope
Yeah, hang on and pray.
and pray. Definitely. Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, look at, a lot of these things are upset over the fact that they couldn't go to church.
Right.
The older you get, the more religion you get.
It's more important. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you're getting closer to the time when,
Where they need to make their spot.
yeah. But, I mean, it's tough, I mean, and that's the time when you have a lot more time on your hands too. So you get up in the morning, what do I do?
Right.
And if you don't have something to do,
You need a purpose.
yeah, I mean, after a while, you're gonna say, why get up?
Right. And that's my other fear, is the isolation, the loneliness. I'm just worried about some folks, and I just hope that they can hang on a little bit longer until we can get to
Yeah.
them once again.
I mean, as it is, we've lost people, and we couldn't even go and say goodbye.
No, that was hard too. We lost many.
Yeah, people that you've had for many years going down there, that,
I call them my core group,
yeah,
and the majority of that core group is gone. So when we do open, it's gonna be different people, and I might have to do some recruiting for my.
well, I was gonna, okay, I'm a senior, I know, that, I don't think about it that way, I think I'm still a teenager, but the thing is, a lot of people, boomers, in my generation, we don't look at it the same way.
No,
And we're not interested in the senior center,
right. And that's why we're trying to refocus the activities that we offer. We want to be able to cater to what the boomers want.
yeah,
They don't want to be considered old. They're not senior citizens. They're not elderly.
right,
And so I am always watching my wording, I use older adult. I try to really stay away from senior citizen, for sure, and elderly. Those are the two words I really stay away from. But I have to say, probably in the 6 months before this all happened, we noticed that there were a lot of younger folks coming into our center.
Oh,
And getting involved with some of the newer activities that we were introducing and really having fun and saying,
why didn't I do this sooner?
why didn't I do it sooner? I can't believe that I thought that this was a place for just old people. We've had visitors come in, and they would, I think it was a young child that was with, we did a tour, and the question was, where are the beds? Well, nobody lives here. Nobody lives here. Everybody goes to their own home at the end of the day. I mean, we're not even a day program. A day program is a structured, adult day health program is very structured, has medical care, and a little bit of a more formal vibe than we do. We're just a very social, independent, come in, do as you wish.
What you might relate it to is, when I was a teenager, everybody had a hangout.
Right.
And in fact, we used to hang out with Sammy's is now.
Oh,
Yeah, at that time it belonged to Oscar Ardette.
okay.
And it was a bar and restaurant.
But that was prior to Bungalow, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bungalow restaurant.
Oh, it was the Bungalow. Okay.
Bungalow restaurant.
Yes, remember it, yeah.
Yeah, and so what you're doing now is the same thing. It's like a hangout.
It's like the club, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where everybody gets together and just, throws the breeze around and,
Well, they throw a lot around.
yeah.
I hear so much. Well, and really, honestly, for the most part, I learned so much. So not being a native of Northbridge, I have learned so much about the history, how things used to be, the people, the players, the folks that made things work in town. It's just it's very enlightening.
Well, people in my generation, we had the transition.
Right.
We seen this town go from white machine works to no white machine works.
Mm-hmm.
We seen it change from the form of government we had before to the new charter. Everything changed dramatically, and all these things. We've seen all these changes take place.
Right. And some, I would say, some good and some bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's for someone that probably has lived here all your life to see things change. It must have been difficult at times and hard to get used to.
It was so gradual you didn't notice it.
Okay.
It's like, like they say, if you're going to boil a frog, you start them out in cold water and you let the heat get up.
Okay.
Well, so we didn't notice it.
Right. You weren't right into the frying pan.
No, it wasn't. It was
Okay.
it was a slow
It was a
transition.
gradual.
Well, shop you couldn't do anything about. Yeah, it's gone. They're gone.
Right.
But you didn't really notice it. You adjusted to it pretty much.
Yes. Yeah.
And we adjusted to the change in the charter. It happened. A lot of people didn't want it. Some didn't. It was kind of. It wasn't an overwhelming support.
Okay.
It was pretty close, but it happened and people adjusted to it.
Right. Yeah.
But and we got the introduction of cable TV. I mean, that was
Right.
that's a big thing. We went from half a dozen channels to who knows how many.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of different changes. I mean, but now you're going through changes now. Probably when you first started, the music played there was stuff, from the World War II era,
Mm-hmm.
swing music.
Right.
And now,
It's evolving,
now you're evolving into early rock and roll.
which is fun because I like that, and I think I can relate more to that
Yeah.
than I can for the earlier. So when we bring entertainment in, and there's more of a, you know, do we have a call?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay.
I want to get into that some more, though, if I can.
Of course you do with your music.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
hell yes. Okay. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, Harry. Hi, Kelly. How you doing?
Oh, is that my
Ivy.
friend Abe?
I was going to say I wanted to just give a quick call, make a couple of comments, and I'll let you get back to business. Harry, I'm glad to see you doing better.
Yeah.
And
It was a rough road, but we got over the worst part.
well, one thing Harry has to remember is his mind is still young, but his body ain't what it used to be. Just like the rest of us.
Sometimes, Amy, I think I'm in better shape now than I was in my 40s.
Well,
I was overweight then. I got myself slimmed down, and I'm eating better. So, sometimes you get better.
yeah.
Better with age.
In certain areas, but I'm glad to see you're on the comeback trail. Also want to congratulate our great town clerk, Doreen. She did an absolute fabulous job.
Yes.
Absolute professional. That office, same thing. No matter what, they helped you, and they were great, and I am just delighted to see that Linda will be taking her place. And the baton will just be quickly, passed on, and, you'll see very little change, if any. So the town is very fortunate and very lucky in that regard. And as far as being fortunate and lucky in that regard, I want to report that Miss Kelly Bowl has carried on without you just fine. And she got one of the thrills that you've had a few times over the years that I know completely rankles you when you're there alone. When you have to do 1 hour all by yourself,
It's not easy.
like it's not fun.
But who rescued me?
You rescued yourself, young lady.
No, I'm telling you, Abe, when you called in, that turned everything around. So
Well,
I've been meaning to.
You know what you need is a little bit of a break, because having, Harry will tell you this, having done it myself before. You get there and you're all set to go, and you basically say to yourself, "Okay, big boy, go get him, knock him dead." And then you get started, and then you say, "Did I mention this? Did I mention that?" And then all of a sudden you kind of not get shaky, but
A little stage fright.
It kind of slows up a little bit, and then I think sometimes you just throw a little twist in there, and take it off course a little after that, and then I don't know what you were driving at, maybe 40 or 50, but you were going 70, 80 after that. So no, seriously, you did a good job, and it is. Harry will tell you, because he does not like it when he's alone.
No.
He can't wait for the hour at the end so he can go home. And it's been a few times when Harry said, "That's it, we're gone."
Yeah, I mean, you run out of things to talk about.
Yeah. Well, happy to report Miss Stoll did a great job, just like she does down at the senior center. So you two guys stay healthy and have a good rest of the night.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Amy.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I think on the music, music's extremely important to every era.
Yes.
But it seems that we grew up, the generation that grew up with the rock and roll, that became a big factor, because the radio stations tuned into us, because we were a big part of the audience now.
Right.
That's why I call it, the boom generation. A lot more kids, and we had money, which probably our parents didn't have. So the
Yeah.
advertisers wanted, so they catered to us,
Definitely.
and it became a big factor. And and that music carried on, and of course we had more ways of listening to it too.
Definitely. You're right. Yes.
I mean, if you go back to my grandfather's generation, they had bandstands. So maybe you got it in the warmer months, and when the band came out and played, we had radio, we had TV,
So many.
we had our own
Venues.
phonographs.
Right.
the 45s
Yeah.
and the LPs. I mean, so music was something you had all the time.
It was a huge part of the,
Yeah. I know
lifestyle.
if I had a car, the only two things I cared about, it had a radio and a heater.
Yeah, right. That's all. That's all
Yeah.
you needed.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was important to have that. And so, it carries on. I'm still a big fan of music. I like to have music on all the time.
Right. Yeah. It makes a difference, and it helps with the mood,
Yeah.
and it livens things up and makes everybody feel good, and so
And rock and roll is a fun music.
it is. It definitely is, and
Early
it gets you
rock.
moving.
Yeah, it's great exercise music.
Definitely. Yeah.
And the early rock is fun.
Yes.
It's a happy music.
Yep. It's
I mean,
everybody can relate to it.
Yeah. In fact, you find kids today that go wild over it.
Sure.
That's why you have bands like the Beach Boys that are still touring.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
you have all these Beatle imitating bands.
Exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
amazing.
It is. It's fun.
In fact, I just read an article, a Smithsonian magazine, of George Harrison's trip to America prior to the Beatles.
Oh,
And you know about that?
no.
He has a sister that lived in Illinois.
Interesting. Okay.
And she had moved here with her husband. Her husband was from Scotland. He was an engineer, and they moved to southern Illinois because he was a mining engineer, and there were a lot of coal mines in that area, near Kentucky.
Right.
And he came and visited her in '63. The Beatles were very big in England, and he
yeah.
was making money as a musician in England, but they hadn't been heard here.
Oh. Huh.
And he would send records to his sister, and she would try to get the local stations to play it, but, they wouldn't, not all of them would
wouldn't.
do it. And
No. Right.
so he came here and visited her with his brother, and nobody knew who he was.
Right.
It was a really interesting
Oh,
article, and he
that's
actually
neat.
sat in with a band that was playing at the VFW.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it
Wow.
was, like I said, it was a really good article.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
And how,
Who would have thought?
yeah. And then this was in '63, in September of '63. And then in January of '64, they were here.
I was going to say, is that when
Ed
they
Sullivan.
came? Yes. Yeah.
And but their music started getting played on a lot of the stations in late December and early January.
Right. Yeah.
But Ed Sullivan had heard of them, and he booked them while they were in England,
He wanted them. Mm-hmm.
which was a smart move on his. He
Definitely.
was pretty sharp. That was another thing. That was a mainstay of our generation too.
Yeah.
Sunday nights, everyone
Everybody
watched
watched
that show.
it. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
When life was simple, and
well, it was and it wasn't. There were
well,
complications.
compared
but-
to now.
right. Well, you don't remember the complications.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of cases, people didn't even have a phone.
No. They shared a.
Yeah.
Did you share a party line or?
Oh, party lines were a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had our first phone. We didn't have a phone until I was almost a teenager.
Isn't that something? And to think all teenagers now have their own phones.
I know. I mean, that's how things have changed so much.
Too
And,
much.
And what's the future going to be? Walking around like Star Trek with the little thing on our
Right?
chest, and okay, here I am.
No.
I mean, well, now you got the watch.
You've got the watches. Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows what the future's going to bring? It'll be embedded into us.
You think so? In our skin somewhere?
Yeah, in
or-
your skin somewhere. So
Yeah.
in the middle of the night, your phone rings and you wake up because.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Oh,
But
wow.
I mean, these are the things that you're dealing with too with the senior center because
Definitely.
I mean, especially a lot of people that didn't grow up with using a phone on a regular
No.
basis now, and now that you have phones that are catered to seniors.
Right. Yes. And that's another thing that I would like to explore once we're back up and running again is really helping people more with the technology.
Yes.
Because even simple is possible.
Yep.
And I want people to stay connected.
Yeah, I mean, now it makes it easier for people who live at home because you can have the sensor that you hang around your neck.
Right.
So if something happened, I don't know if you knew my uncle Ed Postma.
Mm-mm.
He lived right near you, right near the senior center. He had that little white cottage.
Oh,
My
okay.
nephew lives there now.
Okay.
And
Is it down in the back?
no, right on Church Street.
Oh, right on Church. Okay.
Yeah, little white, little cape, I guess.
So across from Barkey's?
No,
No.
heading uptown
Okay.
on the left.
Okay.
You come out of your place and
Yeah.
there's 1, 2, 3 houses and it's a little white,
Oh, okay.
got a white fence around it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, well, his wife had passed away, my aunt had passed away, and he was living there by himself,
Okay.
but he had bad arthritis.
Yeah.
And he got to the point where he couldn't drive anymore. He got in a serious accident.
Oh dear.
Well, anyway, that really put him out because they took his license away.
Mm.
And he was not he was a mobile person. He liked to get around. Well, he didn't want to leave his house, but he had an old furnace. And he used to have to go down cellar every morning or every night and fill the tank with water. And I said, Uncle Ed, why don't you get an item oil in here or somebody
Update it.
and upgrade it?
Mm.
No. He didn't want to do it. He had the money to do it. He just didn't want to do it. I said, you just leave the money to somebody else to do it. No. Well, he never had a telephone. They never had a phone because my aunt didn't want one.
Mm-hmm.
She grew up without it, and she didn't want one.
Yeah.
Well, and she passed on. In fact, she died at home. He had to get in his car and drive to the police station
No. To get
because
help.
to get help. So then he got a phone.
Good.
Well, after he got the phone, I said, you really need a remote phone.
Right.
So I bought him one,
Mm-hmm.
and he loved that phone.
Oh, I bet. Take it everywhere with them.
Yeah. So if you fall down, you can make a call because he didn't want
No.
the alert system. Well, he goes down cellar, and he would go down cellar on his butt
Oh.
because of his arthritis.
Mm-hmm.
He would go back up the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one night, when it was in the middle of the winter, he went up and he slid, and he went right back down and ended up on the cellar floor.
Oh no.
And he told me till the day he died, he says, I'm so sorry, I forgot Harry's phone.
He called it Harry's
Because he
phone.
laid there all
He
night
laid
until
there all night. Oh,
my other uncle, his brother-in-law, who
was trying to get a hold of him. I bet. Or...
well, came to his house and he didn't answer the door. He had a key, got in, he found him on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But then he ended up in a nursing home.
Right.
He said, I would have never went to the nursing home if I had been able to call someone. He could have called me
Right. And got there quicker.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have been on the floor.
the whole
But you
night.
know how many times, how often, unfortunately, we hear people
Yeah.
that.
And today, I mean, with cell phones, they're not that heavy, they're not that big. You can carry them around all the time. If you don't want to do
Absolutely.
the alert system.
Yes. Right.
And, I think people are trying to stay at home too.
Definitely. Yes. And that will keep me in business too.
Yes, yes. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a nursing home.
Unless it's absolute last resort. They do a fabulous job. We know. You've had family members.
Yeah.
I've had family members. I've worked in a facility. I know they do a great job, but there's no place like home.
Right.
And to
the
be
thing-
able to,
I feel like I was back in the army,
right, Yeah.
living in a barracks again.
exactly, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really, other than the fact that I get waited on.
Well, I'm sure you got waited on at home too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but in the army I didn't.
No, right,
But
yeah,
so I mean, I like to be. I'd rather be at home, and you're more comfortable.
definitely, yes. You're in your own environment. You know where things are. You have
Yep.
things set up the way you want it. And that's what we try to promote too. If we offer people medical equipment, so we get a lot of donations in,
Yes.
and we loan things out. And my assistant is actually, her background is occupational therapy.
Oh.
So she's got that skill
Yeah.
that she makes sure that all the equipment that comes in and that we loan out, actually we give out. We don't really expect it back. But that it's safe, that it's in working order, and it's the right thing for the person.
How do you get the equipment? Is it donated
It's just all donated.
from people that have used it, or?
People that have used it, people that have passed,
Uh-huh.
and, families are cleaning out homes.
Yeah.
They'll call and say, do you accept, the only thing we don't accept is commodes if they've been used.
Right.
I will take a brand new one,
Yeah.
but not anything that has
Yeah,
been
I can
used.
understand
But-
that.
So, but everything else is, and I have actually therapists from visiting nurse agencies in the area that know to call us because we let them go down in our basement where we have our storage room, and we tell them to go shopping, and they just find whatever equipment they need.
Oh, wow.
And it's a great thing, especially for folks that if their insurance doesn't cover certain equipment and they're having difficulty affording if they didn't if you don't want to purchase things. Yeah, it's a great, so wheelchairs and tub benches, tub seats,
Yeah,
rolling
these are all
walkers.
important things, and they can be expensive. And a
And they
lot of
can be.
Medicare doesn't cover a lot of
No.
it.
It doesn't, no. So it's a nice little feature that we
Yeah.
have.
And it gives them a chance to stay in their home, which is
That's
the
it.
most important.
And that's the thing. If people can safely remain in their own homes, then
Well, I think
We're
the
all for it.
government is getting more in tune with it too, aren't they?
I think so too.
They're adjusting the Medicare payments
Yes,
so that, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper to keep someone in their home and send a nurse in on a periodic basis than
Mm-hmm.
have them
in a facility,
in a facility.
right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
And I think they stay healthier.
definitely. As we see.
And you run the Meals on Wheels.
So the Meals on Wheels is managed by Tri-Valley,
Mhm.
but they do have a program out of our senior center.
Yeah.
And that has been going all along. So Meals on Wheels has never seen,
How do you qualify for that?
so if someone is interested in the Meals on Wheels program, I put a referral into Tri-Valley. Tri-Valley has a staff person exclusively for the Meals on Wheels program that will do an assessment. Now whether, I don't know if they're going out to the homes right now. They may not be. It might be a telephone assessment. But normally they would go out to the home.
But
because
they're
they wanna
delivering to the homes.
But they're delivering to the homes. But the initial setup is an assessment by one of the case managers because they want to know what diet you're on, whether you're diabetic, if you need like a low sodium or any other.
Is there a
Special.
financial stipulation?
So
in it?
for the Meals on Wheels program, it is only a suggested donation, which is
Oh.
interesting. Any other services through Tri-Valley, it's based on income,
Right.
but not the Meals on Wheels program. So we found that there was an up in numbers during the pandemic because whether they weren't coming to the center, because they would normally come to the senior center and
Yeah.
have their lunch, or for folks who are having difficulties
Well,
getting to the
they're
store.
trying to get to go shopping.
Exactly, yeah. So it might be
And when you
easier.
did go shopping, you might have to wait outside for 20 minutes for crying out loud.
Exactly. Or go early in the morning
Yeah.
with the senior hours.
Right.
And I'm also hearing a lot of seniors that that are in our area say that's too early for us. Some, I think it's early and I think it's good for some. But others, I have others that they like to sleep
Well, in the
in.
early months, when we were talking back when it first started, a lot of seniors don't like to drive when it's dark.
No,
And we're talking 6 in the morning, it's still dark.
it's still dark, yeah.
Not now, but, you
No,
know,
but way
back in
March.
March and April it was.
Correct, yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, if they have a hard time at not driving in the dark,
right. That can be another issue too.
and then if
So-
you get there and you have to wait outside and it's cold, that's not good
No,
either.
it's not fun. No. So the Meals on Wheels program, we're very glad and happy that it was able to continue without any interruption. And we have our nutrition manager is Bill, and he's a great guy. So
Yeah,
We're very fortunate.
but I'm glad to see there's not a financial requirement on it, because
No,
you might have a senior that just, they might have some money, but it doesn't mean they can go out and get a meal. And if they're by themselves especially, how much can you possibly eat?
exactly. And if you're
And preparing
cooking
it
for
can be a
one,
problem too.
cooking for one is almost difficult.
Yeah,
Unless, unless you're okay with having leftovers, a couple days but yeah. And some people choose not to because why just cook for one? So you
Yeah.
have that too.
yeah, so they may go without eating.
Right. Which is another problem.
Yeah.
But,
And
Yeah.
are they running down to McDonald's, which,
but there's a whole crew there that used to meet every morning. And
Yes.
I know they're missing out right now.
oh, I know, yeah, I heard about that.
I call that the senior center annex.
They used to invite me down. I said, I ain't got time for that.
No, right. Yeah.
I had too many things going.
You do. You absolutely do. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm still working,
Right.
which I'm happy to do.
And that's wonderful. Yeah. As you said, you got to keep going. You
Yeah.
can't stop.
I missed one radio show. That was last week. But
That's pretty. That's,
Jeannie filled in with Joe Monacotti,
oh, okay.
who does the radio record show. They did the show for me,
Nice.
so worked out.
Good. Excellent. Yeah. But you bounced back, and
Yeah,
here you are. Yeah.
and you got to stay busy. You got to keep yourself going.
Definitely.
I wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, I got a million things to do."
Which is wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah. It's important. I said every day you have to have a purpose. And yeah. So
Yeah. We're going to
excellent.
be wrapping it up because I don't
We
want to
are.
go over.
Well,
Aaron
thank you.
will kill me.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want to get in trouble.
But we'll be back next week.
Yes, we'll be back next week, and if there's a topic that somebody is interested in, reach out to me at the Senior Center during the week,
Yes.
because I'd love to hear what your thoughts or ideas are about future shows. And
We can get
Harry's,
some guests in if you have
I was
anyone.
gonna say, Harry's been kind enough to give me this little gig through the summer, so let's get some fun things on. I know we had fun last week. We can have different guests on. And,
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
people of interest. I mean, I'd like to get the Elder Affairs Secretary in.
Wouldn't that be good? Well,
Yeah.
let's see if we can do that.
We'll see if we can work that out.
We'll work on that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Be amazed that these people will come out.
I bet they will. I really do. Because they like the exposure too.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I even sent an assistant. The Lieutenant Governor has promised me that she was going to come in, but now when this virus thing started, she's been out
She's
straight.
very out straight. But that would be wonderful. And I bet she will follow through with that.
Eventually, I'm holding her to it.
Hold her to it.
I haven't seen her now for a while because
Yeah.
of, well, she hasn't been around, but she said, I'm going to do your show, Harry, I'm going to do your show.
That would be great. Definitely. Good.
All right, well,
Okay.
we'll be back next week, along with Kelly and myself, and maybe a guest.
And maybe a special guest.
Yeah.
So don't forget about town meeting and vote
Yes.
on the 30th.
Very important. Town meeting is Tuesday night, this Tuesday coming up. The election is a week from Tuesday. All right.
Excellent. Thank you.